The Free Palestine movement in Colombo and their controversial display of Hezbollah and Hamas banners. The Free Palestine movement in Sri Lanka has recently sparked threats and risk to our country, with their group's public display of terror banners in Colombo commemorating Hamas and Hezbollah, who are renowned international terror organizations. They should not be allowed to engage in any such activism in support of international terrorists, like Hassan Nasrallah, head of terror organization Hezbollah, and Khalid Mashal, head of terror organization Hamas. Both these terrorists were notorious murderers who had international warrants and bounties offered for their arrests, as they had perpetrated and masterminded many acts of terrorism globally. Terrorism is not resistance, and as a democratic and civilized nation, we don't condone any form of terrorism. We have been victims of gruesome terrorism ourselves for many decades. Other nations have banned Free Palestine movements as they have been found to be a threat to national security and complicit supporters who are funded by terror organizations and terror-supporting states. It's evident that the same occurs here in Sri Lanka due to events organized by the Free Palestine movement to honor terror leaders and mass murderers of Hamas and Palestinian Jihad and Hezbollah. In fact, recently further violent protests were organized in front of the USA Embassy and many critical locations of Colombo. Such vocal violence should never be allowed. It shames our nation's global, non-aligned, non-violent stance in international policy. Government must act expeditiously against anarchy mongers and terror supporters who discredit our nation as they pursue the agenda of a global terror network that destabilizes nations. We can't allow these violent protesters to disrupt tourism, law and order, and hamper our economy. Let us mind our own business and seek true justice to our own innocent Sri Lankan children and citizens, and tourists who were murdered on our own soil by suicide bombers in 2019 during the multi-front Easter Sunday terror attack perpetrated by similar extremist terror groups. In fact, Hamas terrorists of Gaza brutally murdered on a single day our own innocent Sri Lankan migrant workers in 2023 who were doing jobs in Israel, with another 1,200 unarmed civilians. Many innocent families were devastated for life by a brutal war Hamas began and continue. Let us seek justice for our Sri Lankan people. Free Palestine movement does not represent the voice of Sri Lanka. They do not care to acknowledge the Sri Lankans that were murdered by the terrorists they seek to honor. They are an impediment to our economy and foreign relations. Sri Lanka must pragmatically implement the non-aligned policy, as we have a high-earning Sri Lankan migrant worker community in Israel. Sri Lankans who work in Arab nations are paid a meager salary of $200 to $300 in Arab countries. Many Lankans serve in these nations in harsh and inhumane conditions. However, Sri Lankans serving in Israel get a salary between $3,000 and $5,000. Approximately 65,000 to 100,000 Sri Lankans work in ethical Israeli job markets that uphold rights, ethics, and human dignity. Hence, if we equate the quantum of foreign exchange received by these migrant workers in Israel with migrant workers of other Arab nations, no comparison could ever be made in net worth of foreign exchange earned. Saudi Arabia has banned all public displays of support for Palestine. Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Palestinian cause is not my cause. I only care about my country and the people of my country. We will not waste time with radicalism. We will modernize rapidly. If such is the stance of Islamic nations, why do we put to jeopardy our struggling Sri Lankan economy and society? Government of Sri Lanka. We look to your far-sighted leadership in this regard. Don't allow any global terror-supporting organization to sabotage our economy and diplomatic alliances. Don't allow any group to rob our nation of the much-needed foreign exchange. Subscribe to our channel. Help spread the truth.